everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Power Season 4, Episode 1. So the season picks up pretty much where it left off from Season 3. They're arresting Ghost for the murder of Greg Knox, and so they have him at the precinct or at the police station. As they're booking Ghost, he's starting to have flashbacks, and it's all coming together like you shouldn't have been messing with a Fed, you shouldn't have left your wife and kids for the other woman, for the side piece, you should have listened to your lawyer and your partner and your wife when they were telling you that this woman was going to bring you down. Everyone tried to tell Ghost to leave Angela alone and that she was going to be his downfall, but he didn't want to listen. But now it's all coming down on him. And so this is what happens when the heart rules your head, and in Ghost's case is ruling both of his heads because he ain't thinking clearly and he has been overpowered by the Punani. And then we got Tasha calling about Tariq, and he actually thought that the police were going to let him, that these agents were going to let him answer that telephone. And just like, Ghost, can you really be that dumb? Like, you were the head of this drug cartel. And I guess he's never been arrested before. But anyway, they told him, you'll get your one phone call later. But I'm thinking to myself, you should have been trying to figure out a code. You could have accidentally reached over there and pressed in that phone to lock the phone and delete whatever content you had on that phone, or either like a special code, like I have Sprint. And if I want to call customer service, it's *3, I think it is. And if I want to pay my bill through the phone, it's *2. So he need to have like a star and a number that alerted Tasha, hey, you need to call and get my phone locked, and you need to delete all the information, go into my Google Drive and delete all the text messages and all the pictures from the phone. Because I'm thinking to myself, when they had that terrorist attack over there in San Bernardino, California last year, the year before last, remember Apple wouldn't unlock the phone for the federal agents? I'm thinking, Ghost, they wouldn't unlock the phone for you. So you need to step up your game with technology and all of that is concerned. And can we please make the hashtag Angie must die or Angela must die, because this needs to be the last season that we have her on this television. We need to bring Angela down, get her out the picture. Maybe if they don't kill her, they can send her off, to prison, for something that she's done. But we need Angela's storyline to end, and if they want to continue this show, to pick up with a new storyline and go in a whole nother direction, because I don't think that there's anybody out there that likes Angela and wants her to continue in this role, or want her and Ghost to end up together. And now we know that Tommy did not kill Keisha, that he was hiding her from Milan until it was safe, to bring her out, because Milan had found out, that Tasha was using her beauty salon as a front. And now he has to deal with Kanan crazy behind and his even crazier sidekicks. And, I have a confession to make. I didn't realize until, I think it was the last or second to last episode of season 3, that the cousin, the female police officer, is actually a Nikanani Rose. I did not. That was the first time I really looked at her, and I was like, this actress looks so familiar to me. And then I came in on the screen, and I was like, oh girl, you are so stupid. But anyway, do you guys think that Dre is going to make Tommy kill him in a fit of anger, for playing both sides of the fence, or is something else going to come between? Because I just feel the tension between Tommy and Dre, and I can't figure if it's better for the storyline for Dre to die, or is Dre going to maybe Ghost will go off to prison and then Dre will step in and become the kingpin or something. I mean, stranger things have happened. But so I kind of don't know if I want Dre to leave or if I want him to stay and kind of challenge Tommy to make better and smarter decisions. So Dre has to be the one to tell Tommy about Ghost being arrested. So the streets obviously weren't talking because Tommy didn't know that his boy was going to jail. But it was a smart move for Dre to get Tommy, out of the way so that he could go and rescue Tariq from Kanan crazy behind. And since they killed Milan, everyone or everything seems to be falling apart on this show. And now Proctor, has to deal with his crazy woman and her addiction issues and take the child from her because he went home and chaos was going on over there. So he got to take the daughter and deal with Ghost being in prison or being in jail. And now I know that Charlie Murphy died earlier this year. And I know you're not supposed to speak ill of the dead. But Charlie Murphy, I'm going to make me cuss him out on this season of Power. Because he is just wrong. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try and overlook his role and, the things that he's doing on the show. Because I know he's deceased now and that it just wouldn't feel right to talk about him. But I'm going to need them to hurry up and get Charlie Murphy off this season. Before we mess around here and say something about him that we shouldn't be saying. So Proctor tells Tasha not to tell Ghost about Tariq being missing, and Dre shows up to rescue Tariq and shares the news of Ghost's arrest with Kanan and his little crooked cop friends that he has. But the lady cop, she don't even care that Ghost has been arrested because all she's thinking about the money and killing Tariq and moving on. So I kind of see her role dying in this season. I just can't figure out if Tommy's going to kill her, Dre's going to kill her, or Kanan is going to kill her. But I do see the lady cop dying in this season. So now Dre has committed himself to paying these fools $15,000 each, which is $45,000. Did he say a week or a month? I think it was a week that he's going to give them that money every week because, they're going to be dealing the drugs out of the club, which Ghost don't know anything about. But he had to do that and make that promise to get Tariq and get Tariq back home, which is why I'm kind of thinking that Dre will probably be the one that ends up killing the two police officers. So before they leave, Kanan tells Tariq, about his dad's arrest, even though Dre asked him not to. And he also tells this little simple-minded boy who obviously needs his behind whooped, but we'll say that for another day, that while he was passed out, that the guy cop thought it was funny to take a picture of him and send it to Tasha, telling Tasha that Tariq had been kidnapped and that they wanted a ransom for him. So, he was basically coaching Tariq on what to tell Tasha when he got home. Don't reveal his identity. Tell her that it was a joke and it was a gag, and then don't mention the fact that he already knew that Ghost had been arrested. Then we have Tommy and Tasha, and they're working hard to convince themselves that Kanan is really dead. Well, I don't know so much if Tommy's trying to convince himself that Kanan is really dead, or if he's trying to assure Tasha that there's no way Kanan could have survived. Because you can kind of tell that Tommy, the wheels turning up there, and he's thinking, is this Joker really still alive? But I thought it was kind of crazy because Kanan has all these doggone tattoos on his arm, and it was his arm that was in the picture, like around Tariq's shoulder. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if y'all know each other, like knew each other as close as they all were, why they couldn't look at those tattoos and recognize them as having been Kanan's tattoos? Because I have friends that have tattoos, and if I saw just their arm, I would be able to say, oh my God, that looks like so-and-so's arm because she has that tattoo on her arm, or I know that's him because he has that tattoo on his arm or chest or whatever. So I think it's just kind of crazy. Or maybe Tommy did recognize the tattoos, and Tasha may have not known Kanan that well to have recognized the tattoos. But another oversight that has me questioning, how can they be running this huge cartel and they just dumb as I don't know what. When Tariq returns home, he plays the role just like Kanan told him to, and he tells the lies and pretends not to know that Ghost has been arrested. And I'm just thinking, this is such generational curses at its best, because the streets raised the dad and now the game is about to raise his son. So everything that Ghost has done is about to come back on him tenfold through the actions of his son, who is just to have lived such a sheltered life, he is just so easily pulled into this mess and this chaos and willing to lie. Because I'm thinking, like, you can't be that angry with your father for leaving your mom for this woman. Well, you can be that angry, but would that make you that dumb and naive? And you need to find some other kind of ways to rebel, Tariq. But then they had went back to the scene with 50 Cent and the lady cop, who also I think is his cousin. And so she was telling him, like, oh, you just seem so happy, knowing that Ghost is in jail. So then he starts reminiscing about, his first night in jail and what Ghost is going through. And I'm like, okay, now is this Kanan the character that's giving these lines? Or is 50 Cent channeling some energy from when he's actually been to prison when he's doing this role? Because he sounded really convincing. So then Ghost, he be making a bunch of dumb mistakes to be such a mastermind. And when Proctor told him that they have his fingerprints on the outside of the window, he was like, oh yeah, I did, go through the window because I was at his apartment, trying to find him. I'm just like, okay, but we supposed to believe that you didn't kill the man, although you just admitted. Like, he wasn't even smart enough to say, yeah, I broke into his apartment, like 2 or 3 weeks ago because I was trying to find out, if him and Angela was sleeping together or whatever. Like, make up a lie that did not put you in that apartment the night before. And then I was thinking, why didn't he say, like, he's still trying to protect Angela, because why didn't he tell Proctor that when he was in Knox's apartment that Angela came in the apartment? Or would that have made him look more guilty, like he killed Knox in a fit of anger or a fit of rage? Like, okay, maybe that's why he didn't tell him that Angela had came into the apartment and he found out that her and Knox were back together. So when Proctor leaves Ghost and the jail, he calls Tasha and tells Tasha, he's gonna get him out on bail, but she needs to get $2 million in legal money, like borrow the money from somebody or whatever. But he's like saying it so nonchalantly, like he's telling her, oh, go to the grocery store and get 2 loaves of fresh baked bread. Like, I was just like, okay, so I'm just gonna go call up a friend and say, hey, I need $2 million. Can you help me with that? So Tasha, being the faithful wife and business partner that she is, she goes to the bank to try and get the money, but they let her know that pretty much Ghost has drained all of their stocks and bonds and their bank account and everything. And so then she goes to the safe deposit box, and everything is gone at the safe deposit box. And this fool that left a note in there talking about, I promise to pay it all back. I'm just like, oh my God, he was in too deep, y'all. He was in too deep, because he done took everything to invest in these businesses to go legit, that he has totally jeopardized his entire family's future, all for some punani, for some coochie that done turned on him. So he should be feeling like a real fool at this point. And then to make matters worse, later on that night, Tasha is in the apartment and she's going through his duffel bag from when he had came home. And so she took the clothes out and she found this jewelry box that had, I think it was a diamond necklace in the box. And so we know he bought that necklace for Angela. So that was just like another dagger in her heart. So then Keisha, she's still in the little safe house with Tommy, and she's still bugging about being caught up in everybody's illegal activities and how they done put her and her son's lives and future in jeopardy. And I really don't blame Keisha because I wouldn't be trying to go to jail for any of these fools, because they obviously are not that bright. So then Keisha goes to visit Tasha just in time for the FBI to show up and serve a search warrant on the place. And Lord have mercy, when Angela sashayed her ass up into that apartment, I almost went through the TV screen. And I'm just thinking, I don't know how Tasha restrained herself, because I would have went over there and beat the life out of that heifer. Like, I was screaming when Keisha said, let me handle it, just say the word. I was like, get her, Keisha, get her, Keisha. But Tasha was like, no, you can't do it. Don't worry about it. So I'm just thinking, like, this cow done walked up in your doggone house and she looking all around, probably thinking to herself, dang, Ghost was living like this and had me over there in that little tiny 1-bedroom apartment. Like, he didn't even upgrade her into like a bigger apartment, even when he was talking about having the kids spend time. Because remember when the kids went to visit them for the first time, and Tasha went to the house to check it out and said, well, where would the kids be sleeping? And Angela said, oh, we're going to make them some pallets and get them some sleeping bags so they can sleep on the floor. I'm thinking, like, how could Ghost have his kids come to that house and sleep on the floor? So yeah, Angela was probably getting real green at that moment. Like, that jealousy was going through her heart, and she was walking around seeing all the stuff that they had. And then they went into one of the rooms because I think they were looking for, she asked was there any weapons in the house. So Tasha was going to get the guns out of the safe. And so then she was like, oh, Jamie was sleeping in here? Heifer, why are you worried about where Jamie was sleeping at? Like, come on, seriously now, what you're not going to do is be asking me what's going on in my house with my husband. And then if I was thinking like Tasha, you know, I would have like a very vindictive heart, because by the time Angela left my house, everybody, it was about 50 FBI agents. By the time they left there, all 50 of them would have known that Angela was screwing her man. That she was a hoe, a slut, a home wrecker. Everybody would have known. Everybody in the building would have known. The police officers that were securing the perimeter downstairs would have known what a slut this heifer was. But, you know, Tasha, she got to play the role, and she got to protect, you know, her husband and her, well, not really her investments, because they pretty much ain't got nothing else left. But, you know, we'll see how it turns out. So while the FBI was there, Raina came home. I guess she was coming home from school, and then Angela tried to comfort her. She was like, if you don't get your hands off that little girl. And she was looking at Angela like, I know you are not serious. Angela, I really need you to go somewhere and sit down for real. And I know, like, every time she comes on the screen, like, my blood pressure probably goes up for real, for real. So then Tommy goes to see Patar, you know, to let him know that they're going to call a meeting to talk about what's going on with Ghost, and to assure everybody that nothing's changed, that, you know, he's still running the drug business, and Ghost being arrested isn't going to impact anybody, and Ghost won't, you know, tell anything about the operation or get anybody else in trouble. And then he asks Patar, why are you still here? So Patar pretty much tells him that I got to babysit you, man, because them folks over there in Belgrade and Russia or wherever them fools was from, like, they don't trust you. So they need me here to make sure that their interests are being taken care of. So then at the meeting, you know, Tommy has to keep everybody calm and level-headed and let them know that they're going to move the product. Everybody's going to get their money. So they seem to be willing to give him a chance. And well, we know that Ghost won't be getting bail because they bring in this mass murderer, some guy named Tariq. I don't think they ever said his name, but basically he's wanted for all these murders, or he's killed people. And I couldn't figure out if he was a serial murderer, a serial killer, or if he was part of a drug operation and responsible for killing all these people. So I had Tommy be going around killing people. But anyway, so they want to put him in the jail. I guess he'll be in the cell with Ghost, and then he's going to be like a confidential informant and try to get Ghost to confess and share stuff with him. And so what the leverage they're trying to use, because the guy like, I'm already going to spend the rest of my life in jail, so what could you possibly have to offer me? So Teresa's wife is dying of cancer, and they tell him that they have all these modern, you know, advanced treatments for cancer, and so they can get his wife the best treatment. And so then the guy was like, okay, so you're going to prolong her life by a few months? What is the deal? So then the federal agent, there was this Asian guy, I don't know where he came from, but he told Teresi, well, at the very least, you'll be able to get out in time enough to attend her funeral. It's just like, went from bad to worse. We done got rid of Greg Knox and then replaced him with somebody that's 10 times worse. So while Proctor, you know, he's trying to get Tasha to come up with all this money, and he's trying to come up with a plan of action to ensure that Ghost gets bail, saying that they have a weak case. We already know in order for the Teresi guy to play a role that they are not going to grant Ghost bail, but we'll wait and see what happened when they get to court. Then we move to a scene where Proctor and Angela, I guess they're in the federal court building or whatever. So Proctor runs into Angela, and these two are making jabs at each other, and he's telling her that Ghost isn't a murderer, and she's saying that, she got all the evidence or whatever. So then the Asian guy walks up, and we find out that him and Proctor know each other, and his name is John Mack, and he comes from the Eastern District, I think he said it was. We go to a scene at, I guess, the federal building where Angela's office is, and him and Angela like standing in the hallway throwing verbal jabs at each other. He's saying that Ghost didn't commit the murder and that her case is weak, and then Angela's insisting that they got a very strong case. When the federal agent that was in there talking to the Tariq guy, he gets off the elevator. And so it turns out that him and Proctor actually know each other. So he introduces him to Angela. He said that his name was John Mack and that he comes from the Eastern District's office. So then upstairs, what's the guy, Mike Sandoval? Is that the lead FBI agent? But him and the black guy, the one with the bald head, they're discussing, how they are going to remove Angela from the case because she's been compromised because she was sleeping with the dead police officer, the dead federal agent, as well as the defendant in the case. And so then she walks in and hears them, and she's like, well, this is my case because I got the evidence and all this stuff. But they was like, girl, go somewhere and sit down. So then Mr. Head Asian Man in charge walks in and announces that he's been assigned first chair in this case and that they are all incompetent and have compromised the case. But he'll take Sandoval to be in the second chair because he got to take one of them. So they're all looking around like, okay, where he came from? So he basically let them know that I guess he has a name in the FBI business, and so they sent him to fix this mess. So then after, he talks to them, he tells Angela, he needs to talk to her in private. So then they go to her office, and then he goes and sits behind the desk, leaning all back and put his feet up on her desk. And, basically telling her, like, I know you were screwing Knox. I know you were screwing Ghost. I need you to take a moment and get your lies and your truths together. And when you figure that out, when you separate the two, you come back and tell me what the truth is. And in the meantime, you won't be any chair in any courtroom that I'll be sitting in because I ain't got time because you ain't right, Angela. So he can see through her bull crap. So it's going to be interesting to see how their whole relationship, works out. Like, is Angela going to try and seduce him and give him some of that deadly coochie she got going on, or if he going to be the one that brings her down? We go back to Tasha, and she's gone to the jail to visit Ghost, and we learn that of all the millions and millions and millions of dollars that they have made, that they have nothing of value to use as collateral to get him out of jail. Okay, so this goes beyond my car is in my mama name and my house is in my cousin name because now they own the building that they live in, but it's in somebody else's name. They rent on paper, they rent the apartment that they live in, so their name isn't even on that condo that they're in. They're not that smart. I don't know. I just the only way I can explain it. So when Tasha mentioned that, she found that necklace, Ghost was quick to say, oh no, you can't sell that, because it isn't worth enough money. But I guess he still hopes that him and Angela are going to work things out and he will eventually be able to give her that necklace as a gift. I'm just like, boy, I'm kind of about to turn on you and say you need to stay in jail. So anyway, Ghost tells Tasha to get the money from Dean, but she's all confused because we know that Dean was Milan and that they killed Milan. But before she could mess anything up, he gets up and just get the money from Dean. You got to get the money from Dean. And then he walked away, tell him to take him back to the cell. So then Tasha goes to see Tommy, who figures out that Ghost wants the money back from the security firm that they hired for the clubs. And so he meets with Patar, and convinces him to go and ask were they Serbian? Yeah, the Serbians. Milan was Serbian, right? So he convinces him to go to the Serbians and ask for the money back because it's in everybody's best interest to get Ghost out of jail. And then, he still reassures them that, he's in charge of the drug operation and that Ghost ain't gonna tell nobody. So then we have a scene where Julio shows up at the club to let Dre know that he's the head Hispanic in charge. And I hope y'all are watching the trend that's going on. So we got Ghost and Tasha, who are black, and they're supposed to be running this big operation, but yet they are constantly taking orders from everybody, and they really have no power at all. So they done went from, the Mexicans, the Koreans, now we got the Serbians. Like, they have to answer to everybody. They have to make deals with everybody else. They can't do anything on their own. So Julio, he tells Dre that although Dre is running the club, that he's actually in charge of distribution and everything, and that Dre has to do whatever he says. So Julio, is fooling around with this chick, and I thought it was a chick. Remember when him and Tommy went to visit the Koreans before, they were knocked out of the picture, and they had offered them dinner and for, the company of that woman. So I'm thinking that that's the same woman. But anyway, he tells Dre that he has to hire this chick as a bartender. So Dre, he's upset about that. But I thought Dre was upset because Julio, is in charge of him. But what Dre is really upset about is the fact that they made Julio over distribution and not him. So then we have a scene where the check comes through from the Serbians, and the refund, so it looked like it was a refund for the security money. And then Dre, he gives it to Tommy and starts questioning, why is Julio being placed over distribution? And Tommy, he decides to test Dre's loyalty by asking him about Slim again. Like, who is Slim? Where does this guy live? And Dre failed the test again, still tried to cover up for Kanan. So now Tommy, Tommy remembering this, like, I done gave you 2 times to come clean. And the 3rd time I ask you, it's going to be lights out. So we gonna see. So then the show ends with Ghost, being denied bail. No surprise there. I don't think anybody thought he was actually going to get bail because he killed a federal agent. And then Tommy is moving the product because he's saying no matter how hot the streets is and how hot the feds are on their case, they still got to move the product and make that money. And then Kanan is texting Tariq, after Dre had just left him, giving him the first $45,000 and telling him to leave Tariq alone. But then Tariq, responds to the test and wants to hook up with Kanan anyway, hard-headed. And then we have Tasha returning, to the home, and the FBI has just totally destroyed the place. It is a wreck. And so she's just looking around like, damn, how my life fell apart like this. And then Ghost is getting beat up by Charlie Murphy, who I can't call names because he's dead in real life. So guys, tell me, do you think that Dre will be able to outsmart Tommy and stay alive, or will Tariq get Dre killed, or will Dre end up killing some other folks protecting Tariq? And as much as I love this show, I just cannot overlook the fact that these people, to be part of a federal probe, they sure do not know how to go undetected, because they're just moving freely. Like I say, Tommy's moving the product still. They're talking and texting on these phones like it's nobody's business. They're in like the club having these open dialogues, in their homes having open dialogue, in the car. Like, these people are not wiretapping them, and then we have no evidence that anybody's being wiretapped. So these are some piss poor federal agents also. So anyway, I'm just saying, I'm not a professional at this. I don't know, all about this, but I just think that it's just a whole lot of laxness going on for this to be a federal investigation of a drug organization. So that's it for me, guys. Let me know what you thought about the video. Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I hope everybody has a great week, and until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.